Moving on to Someone's Watching Me! Anytime they put exclamation points in the title of films, you just want to scream them. It's hilarious. I can't really scream because it's like 2 in the morning and my kids are asleep, but you get the gist. Anyway. Alright, so first up, I want to say that one of the things that I forgot to mention in my Assault on Precinct 13 video was that I just adore that score, especially that opening song, that main theme song of it. One of his best. I'm surprised I didn't mention it, but I just got, sometimes I just gotta get sidetracked and forget to mention big things like that. So, moving on. I have to ask, what the hell is up with John Carpenter's fascination with the name Lee? You have Lee is, the main chick in Assault on Precinct 13. It's the name of the main character in this movie. In Halloween, you've got Jamie Lee Curtis and you have Lee Brackett, Charles Savers. You have, in The Fog, you have Jamie Lee Curtis and Janet Leigh. And Christine, you've got Lee Cabot. In Big Trouble in Little China, you've got Eddie Lee. There's so many Lees in all these films. I'm not sure. I was noticing that when I was watching. I was like, Lee again? Jesus. He really, really seems to gravitate towards that name for some reason. Maybe because, he cast Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter or Jamie Lee Curtis's daughter. Janet Leigh's daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis. And maybe it's named after her because those characters' names are spelled like Janet Leigh's last name. Who knows? But I was just noticing that when I was checking this out. Like, wow. I think that what makes this movie work more than anything is Laura Hutton. She's just so captivating and so beautiful, and she really just has a very commanding presence on the screen. Like, she demands your attention. There's something about her that's very intriguing and, as I said, captivating. And I was really noticing throughout this film. This is definitely during a progressive time for women, for sure. You have not only her being this completely strong, independent woman that doesn't need a man and lives by herself and is successful, but then Adrienne Barbeau's character is homosexual in a time, when it wasn't exactly being accepted. Probably that was kind of the height of what was going on at that time with them fighting over that. And so yeah, I like that Carpenter wrote some progressively strong women in here, and she really embodies that very well here. She feels very independent and self-sufficient and successful and strong. You feel that throughout the entire film. Like, I don't ever feel like she's a damsel in distress in this film. I don't really ever feel like, a lot of horror movies, obviously, they fall into this final girl, scream queen kind of thing, where the girl's running through the thing and, please help me, help me, help me. Like, I don't feel like is she scared at times? Sure. But even, and this is spoilers obviously, even when she confronts the killer at the end, she knows he's in his house. She's not like terrified and paralyzed in the corner, like sitting there. She's fighting back. Like, she's sitting there like, bring it, bring it at me. I don't even get to see you before you kill me. She's really like attacking this guy, trying to lure him out, staying smart, staying strong. And that's just not something you see all that often, especially in the 70s. I mean, now that we've moved into a later era that grew up watching 70s and 80s horror, and they're trying to go against the stereotypes, and they're pushing the envelope and making women stronger. Like, if you watch You're Next or something, you get these really strong female characters. But in the 70s and the 80s, you didn't really get them very much. It was very much the damsel in distress, the Lois Lane, please help me, oh my God, I don't, falling over themselves. And it was great to see a character that was so strong. Anyway, so as I said, that would have failed miserably if it wasn't for the performance from Lauren Hutton. She's just fantastic in this movie. Absolutely. Now, this isn't one I have seen a bunch. I've seen it maybe 3 times in my life, with this being the 3rd viewing. And every time I fully enjoy it. I don't love it, but I'm never bored. I'm always entertained. I think that it's, I feel like it's kind of a play on Rear Window, but like in reverse. Like the killer is the one watching this time and calling in and whatever. Anyway, because that's where I definitely think he got his inspiration for this one. Now, another thing that shows you the times in which this is in is just how blasé they are about sexual harassment in the workplace. Like, this guy is constantly after her in the opening of this movie. Like, she starts working for this place. He is relentless in his pursuit on this girl, and he keeps calling her house over and over, and she keeps saying like, no. But her reactions to him, Adrienne Barbeau's character's reactions to him, are just very... Now, do I think that's how everyone was back then? No. But it's very telling of the times, of how whatever they are about it. They just laugh like, oh, he's a real dog, isn't he? Like a hound dog or whatever. And they just laugh it off. Like nowadays, oh my God, people would be sued, fired. I'm not stating whether one's better than the other or what. I'm not trying to get into a political discussion here at all. Obviously, I don't condone sexual harassment in the workplace. But, whatever. I'm not going to get into my feelings on that. But just watching this and watching like her interactions like with him on the phone calling over and over, like she's goofing on him when he's calling and harassing the shit out of this girl. She's like, no. And he just keeps calling and she's like playing like at the beep, the time will be. It's crazy. Like that would never happen in a movie today. Ever. Or in real life, obviously. So I was just also noticing that pretty heavily throughout the film. And another thing that shows that she is a, I am woman, hear me roar character is a guy pursues her at the bar and she's like, you can fuck right off. And then she gets up and she goes and asks a guy, if he would like to buy her a drink. And they would like flip a coin for whoever was going to buy it. She like pursues him. She has a pickup line and everything. Like she goes up to him, she's like, hi. And then she walks away and then she circles around and comes back and is like, haven't we already met? Like she has a pickup line for a guy in a bar in the 70s. Like, yes, I know this is, it just, that doesn't happen in these kinds of movies. It doesn't happen in many movies, period. So I like that too. I really like her character a lot. I can't say enough about it. I feel like I'm being a tad redundant here, but as I said, I don't see it very often, so I guess I'm just kind of gushing about it, and it can come off as redundancy. So I apologize. Anyway, so I also thought it was, weird that she meets this guy in the bar. They come back to the play. He asks if he can fuck her. She says no. She gets in her car, and then she goes to get out of her car to run after him to be like, oh my God, you forgot my number. And then some weird drunk guy is like, life is hard or something. I can't remember what the line was. And then she just drives off. And then like 5 minutes later in the movie, he's just at her house, and it's never explained how they meet up again, how they found each other, anything. Like she never goes to give him his number again. He's a random guy. This is before Facebook and the internet and cell phones, and how they found each other again, I have no clue. The movie doesn't explore that at all, and they actually go to the extent of making her want to get out of the car to give him the number and everything, and there's no explanation. It's just completely ignored. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just one of these many things that I always notice. And then, of course, you see the commercial break fade outs, which takes you out of the film a little because it just shows that it's made for television. I know it was written for theatrical, but it went straight to TV. It was shot for television. You can clearly tell here. The floor grate scene where she hides down in the floor grate, while tense, and it is a good moment in the movie because it is a very tense scene, it's pretty absurd. Unless, of course, he did know she was there. Like, that grate is big and very open and very noticeable, and who the hell throws down a cigarette without looking, like, to put it out or whatever? Like, he knows he's standing on a grate and he just so happens to know that it went. Like, he would have looked down. He would have noticed her. So, unless he did see her, which he might have. I'm not saying he didn't, but if he didn't see her, we're supposed to believe that he just stood there waiting, and I don't know. It's a little far-fetched. It's not bad. As I said, it's a good scene. It has good tension to it. Carpenter is a great director, obviously, and he has great mood building scenes, especially with tension. And it is one, but I found it to be ridiculous. I also find it funny that she mentions that when she's looking through the telescope that only from 30th floor up can see into her place, but then herself looks down at the lobby and all the way up to the penthouse, and she can see like almost direct line of sight throughout every one of them, completely contrary to what she just said about them being able to see. Like, the building's high enough to where she can see into everything, but no, I'm sorry, that wouldn't work. Doesn't matter, but just a little silly mistake. And I did like that we get this scene where she's in his apartment from across Rear Window style, and you think like at any moment he's gonna pop up and scare her or try to get after her or whatever, and he ends up coming for the girlfriend, her girlfriend, and she just, I guess, is dead. I mean, we don't really ever get the explanation. She just is gone and vanished, and then the movie ends, and you're like, oh, I guess she really did die. You thought she would find her body, or she'd find her tied up somewhere, or whatever, like they always do. But this one was just like, she's gone. He somehow got her on a flight. I don't know how that happened. Maybe he paid someone to fly off. Somebody showed up at the airport in her place and flew off and said that, she was going to take time or whatever. So I don't know how that all worked. They didn't explain that. It was left under. But yeah, you don't usually get those kinds of things without them stumbling on the bodies to get confirmation that that character's dead. We're only led to believe that she's dead, and I guess she technically could be alive. Maybe she's tied up at the apartment back at the place. Who knows? But yeah, we never get confirmation. I thought that was weird. Not bad, just odd. And then the fact that he leaves a suicide letter. I don't know. I always find that fucked up. Like, that people kill people and then fake it like a suicide like that. I don't know, it just taints their legacy. Not only are you robbing them of their life, but you're robbing them of their memory too. Like, this person was so depressed they took their own life, and you're like, that's not even what happened. That was murder. No, like, people should be looking for your killer and this and that, and they're just sitting there thinking you're some sorry sack. I don't know, it always bums me out. There's certain things in films, or just little things, but they always upset me. Like, when people take advantage of people's good nature in movies, I never can stand it. It pisses me off every time. And this is another one. It's like, really? You're gonna make everyone think she killed herself? That sucks. I know it happens a ton in movies, but it always bums me out. Anyway. And that scene where she's like hanging from the window or whatever, I guess I saw in some documentary thing that they did that was actually real. Like, they had her tied up in this. That was a crazy stunt for an actress to do like that. I mean, fuck, for a TV production, low budget shit like this, I wouldn't put my life on the line for that garbage. Cool shot, man. That was scary. And him just falling out the window after she stabs him is stupid. But whatever. I mean, I guess they were worried about her stabbing him and killing him and making her look like, I don't know, whatever. But all in all, a very good movie. I enjoyed rewatching it, and I already watched the next one, so let's get on to that one.